All right, today's lesson is finding the center and radius of a circle by completing the square. All right, let's say we're given this equation. Given 4x squared plus 4y minus 16 and minus 24y plus 51 equals 0. Find the center and radius of the circle. First thing you want to do is group like terms together and move the constant to the other side. And that's simple to do. We have x squared, put the x squares with the x's. All x's go together. So I have 4x squared. That's a minus 16x. And then I have, let's start with the y's. I have a plus 4y squared and minus 24y. And if I were to move 51 to the other side, I have to subtract that to both sides. So over here you have a minus 51. So that's all you do. All right, next step. You want to divide both sides by the leading coefficient if it's greater than 1. But since we have a 4, 4 is greater than 1, so you're going to divide everything by that coefficient. So we're going to divide everything by 4. Because in order to complete the square, it has to be 1. The leading coefficient has to be 1. So if you simplify that, you're going to get x squared, because 4 divides into 4 one time, 4x plus y squared minus 6y. And 4 doesn't divide into 51, so you leave it negative 51 fourths. All right, you want to complete the square of both x and y. All right, so in order to do that, what I just did, I just took the parentheses and separated the x terms and the y terms. And what you're going to look at is the coefficient of the linear term. I have a negative 4 there. So what I do is I take negative 4, and the rule is divided by 2, and then square the result. So if I divide 4 into negative 2 into negative 4, I get negative 2. If I square the result, I get 4. So I'm going to take this number here, 4, and add it to this to complete that square of that term. So now I have a square trinomial. All right, do the same thing to the y term. My linear coefficient is negative 6. So I take negative 6, I divide it by 2, I square the result. So 2 divides into negative 6, negative 3 times. If I square that, I get 9. So I add 9 here to complete the square. Now, this is an equation, so what I do to one side, I must do to the other. So since I added a 4 and a 9, I'm going to have to add 4 and 9 over here as well. Or add 13. All right, you want to simplify the equation by writing the trinomial squares as binomials and adding the squares to the constant. So I have x squared minus 4x plus 4. So now I can write that as x minus 4. Sorry, x minus 2. Squared plus y minus 3 squared. Because I know if I square that, I get x squared minus 4x plus 4 back. And similarly, if I square y minus 3, I get y squared minus 6y plus 9. And you want to simplify this. And since you have to get the common denominators, and if you add negative 51, 16, and 36, you're going to wind up with 1/4 here. And what we're trying to do is get this to look like the the equation of a circle. Recall the lesson on the equation of the circle is this, where the center is HK. So this point here would be HK. So since we have it looking like that, we can just go ahead and pick what the center is. So here I have 2. So I'm going to put 2 and 3. This is my center. So I have 2/3. And my radius, be careful, the radius is squared. So the radius is not 1/4. You got to take the square root of that. Because it's squared, you want to unsquare it. So the radius is going to be 1/2. All right, this concludes our lesson today.